Welcome to the Ages of Rock podcast with your hosts Bill Algie, Dennis Talbot, and Alan Tate. We are three guys who have one thing in common, a love of rock and roll. Our goal is to talk about all things rock. We hope you find this show intriguing, funny, and occasionally highly opinionated. Enjoy! Welcome to Ages of Rock podcast episode 19. This week we discuss the topic, did grunge kill hair metal, or did hair metal kill itself? But before we get to that, we have a special guest here, our friend Billy Hardaway, who is pretty good at telling us what we get wrong. So I'm going to turn it over to Billy and let him introduce himself.
Well, hi, guys. I'm living in Nashville right now. I'm an old school music file, not pedophile, but music file, audio file. For some reason, all this shit is just stuck in my head and I can't get out of it. And, you know, I'm going to therapy for that. But I'm basically, I help out the Decibel Geek podcast. I'm the corrections department. And I'm their historian. Basically, when they want to verify Wikipedia, which they seem to do a lot, they just ask me and I usually tell them what's real and what's not. But I grew up in the 70s and 80s. I was born in 69, so the thing that got me into hard rock music was Kiss. I mean, probably around early 77. For some reason, I was snooping around my sister. She's 2 years older than me. I was snooping around her bedroom, and I found an 8-track with some picture of these freaking comic book freaks on it. And I stuck it in my 8-track player, and I haven't been the same since. So
you haven't been the same since. You haven't been the same since you were snooping in your sister's bedroom.
No. It wasn't just the Destroyer 8-track that messed me up from that. Trust me. We're only talking music here. So.
Less than 2 minutes in, and we've already gone straight to the toilet.
I just wanted to clarify. I think I was
little background. My mom was a music teacher. She taught piano. She played piano. She sang in the church choir. But so there was always music in my house. She loved the Beatles. She loved Elvis. But in the 70s, we were in West Texas and she was listening to country, Merle Haggard, but there was always music going on. But once I never listened to anything myself. I basically just listened to what they listened to. But once I discovered this Kiss thing, I was like, I had to find out more. And I had some older cousins that lived with us for a few years. And they just started. I'm not like y'all. I can't say, well, the next thing I listened to was this or this or this. I don't know. I don't know what order I listened to everything in. But I just know I got immersed in Kiss. And my first concert was 77 Kiss on the Love Gun Tour in Houston at the Summit. And that's me today. I've seen them 22 times. And, that's just rock and roll. Music in general is my passion. I live and die for it.
Well, if you saw Kiss at the Summit in 77, was it night one or night two?
I don't remember because I never knew there was a night one or night two until a security guard at Gibson where I work has a big bootleg collection, and he brought me a whole bag of Kiss bootleg CDs and DVDs, and I was going through everything, and I found actually those on DVD, the bootlegs of those shows, and it was like night one, night two. And I was like, well, I have no fucking idea. I was just there. I didn't even know,
That's cool.
And I can't tell you anything about the show. All I know is I got down there first, right in front of the stage. And I was about, 4 feet tall. And I was right in front of Gene Simmons. And I probably shit my pants. I don't know how many times. But I don't know. I can't tell you anything about the show.
So you were 10?
I was 8.
8? Oh, 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I have to correct my math.
I started early.
That's cool, man. That's awesome.
That's how we met, Billy, for the fact of that he has corrected us on many, many, many occasions on our facts of the show.
I don't like people spewing
and that's
wrong
great.
facts. And, I don't care if it is who's the bass player for Taiketo. Get it right. Or,
we're just talking generalities. We just want to.
I know.
The same genre, then that's good enough for us.
My famous line of that guy who played for that band,
Yeah,
that
but
song.
You guys sometimes don't even get it in the ballpark. I mean, if you were close to the ballpark, that'd be one thing. But you're not even
Wait, is somebody paying him to roast us? I don't know if this.
I'm just here to help, man.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
But no, Billy does listen quite a bit. He does chime in, and it's been funny. That's why we got him on, because we thought it would be interesting. And
I mean, I love it. Y'all were the first thing I listened to today. I listened to the Kiss episode.
Awesome.
And after that, I mean, I spent the whole morning revisiting those Kiss albums y'all were talking about.
There
and
we
I
go.
actually...
What did you think? I mean, let's just do a live review. So what did you think about that show?
It was good, and y'all actually knew some stuff. But it was... But, I mean...
we got their names right? We got all four names right?
Yeah. It made me re-listen to some of those. And honestly, I didn't really dig deep into the 70s stuff real heavy until after Unplugged came out. Because when I remember seeing Unplugged, I was like, wow, what are those songs? Because some of those songs I didn't remember. I knew all the hits that they played in concert. But when I got really submersed into Kiss, it was in the 80s. Like, Creatures just took me, and it was like, and then it was a little bit of the 70s stuff. But Destroyer, I mean, Destroyer is my favorite album, and I always listen to that. But all the other stuff, it was just basically Alive 2, you know, and stuff I'd see when I see him in concert. But when Unplugged came on, I mean, I don't remember ever hearing Coming Home, Going Blind, you know, stuff like that. But when they did it Unplugged, I was like, holy shit, these are awesome. And then I'm the one, if you heard the news this year or last year about Columbia House closing down, that's because of me, because 90% of my CD collection has BMG or Columbia House music on the back. And I used to change my name, change my address,
I've done that too,
to get. So all the Kiss, most of the Kiss CDs I have, because I had cassettes in the 80s. I didn't start buying CDs till 92. They're all the remasters, and every one of them I never paid for. I got them through Columbia House. So y'all can cut that out, because I don't want to get the FBI coming to knock on my door.
Hey, if they haven't got you yet, I think you're probably pretty good.
Statute of limitations has expired.
Yeah, I hope so.
True.
So let me think here for a second. We did a episode on Kiss albums, and then he listens to it and goes out and listens to the Kiss albums.
Yeah, it worked, man. I mean,
Next week, 79 cents.
So next week's episode is going to be about painting my house.
No, I don't paint. You get Paul Stanley's the painter, not me. You can get him to paint your house for about $1 million, not me.
There you go.
That's per side.
But, you know, it's interesting. So so when you see them now, or obviously you've seen them the last couple of years. When was the last time you saw them?
When they came through with Def Leppard. That was the last time they were here.
So you've seen the first 3 albums, because that's all they play now.
Yeah.
So that's the
no.
The 2. Oh, okay.
They still play. They play 80s Kiss. They play Lick It Up.
They throw in Dennis's favorite song, War Machine, which is his favorite.
You know what though? This is the deal, man. I'm not one of those Kiss fans that's gonna bitch and moan about this and this and this. I am just literally happy. I am so passionate about the bands I love from the 80s. Right. To have one that's still around that I can go see.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit who's in the fucking band. I mean, as long as Paul and Gene are there, it's Kiss. And
yeah.
No, wait a minute. You don't care who's in the band, but as long as Paul and Gene are in the band.
I don't care who's wearing the spaceman and the cat makeup. Fuck it. I'm just gonna say it.
All right. So, say in 5 years now.
I mean, look at this.
Say in 5 years then, Billy, whenever Gene and Paul have changed over to 2.0, what are you gonna still go see him?
I don't see that happening. I mean, I don't. There's a tribute band. There's a Kiss tribute band here in town that just does that for me, and they cost $5 to go see them. And they're badass. They're some of the best metal musicians in town, and they do all kinds of tribute stuff. And they do
there's a ton of them that are really good. The thing is,
I don't think the 2.0 is going to happen. I legitimately don't.
I don't think they should. I think they should not do that.
I think it'll. I'm not saying it's going to be successful, but they're going to try it.
No, I don't think so.
If there's a way to make a buck, they're going to try. I really do.
No,
they'll have a TV show. They'll have like an American Idol to look for Paul and Gene.
No. I thought you were going to be quiet, Dennis. I thought you were sick.
All right.
That's awesome.
I honestly just don't. I mean,
I think it'll happen.
This is one of those things like let's just talk about this real fast. The GNR reunion. Everybody's saying it's not a reunion because it's not all 5 guys. But you know what? Guns N' Roses isn't calling it a reunion. It's everybody else. They haven't even made an official statement about it. They just have shows. It's the same thing with the Kiss 2.0. yeah, Gene might have made a few comments, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it'll continue. But they have not officially ever said it's going to happen. It's just, you know how Gene Simmons is. If some reporter's like, so I heard y'all might go on without you and Paul. You know he's going to feed into it. Oh, yeah, that sounds good. But legitimately, 100%, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Kiss is going to be around without Paul Stanley. He is
I agree. I agree.
He is the glue. Gene wouldn't know what to do without Paul.
Right.
Honestly.
I agree.
So,
well, anybody that saw footage of that show the night that Paul wasn't there, it was obvious Gene didn't know what to do.
yeah, but you know what? That's cool.
But that was very
I would have loved to
cool.
have been there. I would have loved to have been there.
Yeah,
but
there are what, 500 people in the world that got to see that?
Right.
500 of the lucky motherfuckers and, luckier motherfuckers and, and me. So
Yep.
I have bootlegs of that show. It wasn't horrible, but I'd have rather been at the show where Gene got stuck up in the air when he was trying to fly.
Wasn't that one where he got stuck in the air and then Paul got stuck on the thing flying out
going
the
out
love
to the
gun?
yeah.
That would be funny.
So,
Anyway.
Real quick,
All right.
too, before we get started, I heard some other news today that was kind of very interesting this morning about AC/DC. Did you guys hear about, I guess it was on maybe the Stern show or something this morning, they were talking about it. I don't remember who was talking about, but they said that the reason that Whatchamadoodle is leaving, not Whatchamadoodle.
Brian Johnson.
Good Lord. You don't freaking know that. We're in trouble.
Okay. No, the reason that Brian Johnson is leaving is it's not all about his hearing. It is a little bit about his hearing, but they're saying that Angus is 10 years younger than Brian, supposedly. I don't know. Is that accurate?
He doesn't look it.
Yeah, I think that's true.
He looks it up close, trust
me. And supposedly the rumor is that his hearing has been an issue as far as his being able to hear himself singing and staying in key and everything else. And Angus is basically booting him out to replace to continue on because Angus thinks he can go another 10 years.
I saw that story on Sleaze Rock because that's what Brian is coming out. Brian came out and said, hey, I can still perform.
Right.
And he says they booted him, and he says Angus isn't even returning his calls.
Oh,
but
Brian is saying this.
Yeah, Brian, this is on Sleaze Rock. So, Brian, there's a story on Sleaze Rock about it. Brian Johnson came out and said he's tried to contact Angus, and Angus isn't taking his calls.
They were talking about that on Stern. I think this morning somebody was listening to it on their satellite radio coming in. I guess Stern was talking about it this morning. I'm like, well, that's pretty interesting.
The gloves are off in the AC/DC
I don't know.
camp.
I don't think it's going to happen. You can't replace Brian Johnson. Nobody's going to buy that. Nobody, without Malcolm. I mean, if Malcolm was still there,
yeah, maybe.
But without Malcolm, no. And I honestly don't even think that's true. I think Angus knew all along that this last tour was going to be the last thing. I don't think he plans at all on.
No, I don't think so either.
Because the original story from the AC/DC camp when this first happened was that they're just going to find a guest singer to do these shows, not replace. It didn't come out that we're going to replace Brian Johnson, and that's just some other stuff that I heard Eddie Trunk on this podcast say that, and I'm like, where the fuck are you getting this from? So
right.
I don't know. There's
Eddie Trunk
maybe
knows
a few
everything.
more. Well, yeah, I know, and I just wanted to punch him through.
He knows he's great.
But, because he said the story he heard was they were going to replace him, and I was like, that's not the story I saw, and I'm sure I saw the same thing you did, but I don't know. That's just
all right. So anyway, I heard that this morning. I thought it was pretty interesting. So
I've seen him enough times. I don't, it's not going to bother me. It's sad, but what can you do?
Yeah. Well, we didn't get to see them, and I was supposed to take my son this year, and we didn't get to go because it didn't work out, and that's too bad because I don't think I want to see him with anybody else but Brian Johnson. So
I have to say I saw them in 2009 or I think it was 2010. They came through on the Black Ice tour. They are still one of the greatest live bands on the planet as far as being from the 80s or even the 70s. They are freaking awesome.
I got to see him one time, and it was for those about the rock tour.
I was there.
It couldn't have been a better show. I mean,
that was the first show that's the first tour I saw. Yeah, when they let off all those cannons,
it was loud.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's where he started losing his hearing.
I guarantee it was the very beginning of it. Anyway.
All right, so we had a topic, right?
No.
Did grunge kill hair metal, or did it commit suicide?
We're gonna go through this again. Okay, y'all all go, and then I'll give you the real answer.
Wow. All right.
Who wants to go? What's your opinion? Go, Dennis.
Personally, my opinion.
That's what we'd like.
Well, I think that hair metal basically killed itself, and I think MTV had a lot to do with it for the fact of that everybody was trying to outdo everybody visually and not musically. And then it got to be a cookie cutter thing to where you had to have a ballad, you had to have this, you had to have that. But MTV, if it wouldn't been for MTV, it probably would have stayed around a little bit longer because they would have thought more about the music. That's my opinion. I seen some head shaking over there.
You got
I
one
think-
thing right.
Well, my opinion of it is I think music does that kind of ebb and flow thing, and it comes and goes, and fads come and fads go, and things change. And I think there was a big saturation issue that happened. I don't know if that had to do with it going away, but I think that had a lot to do with the fact that it was ripe for the picking, and something different was going to, even if something different got in there and even shook it up a little bit, I think it would have really, it did what it did. I think grunge or whatever the next best thing would have been.
But it was,
I think it had not run its course, but was getting close. And it was just so much of it that it was the cookie cutter stuff that it got to be, it was just overwhelming, and people needed something different. I never really personally got into the thrash metal stuff, which, that was the other side of, that was kind of going on at the same time. I never got into it. I never thought there was I didn't like it. I preferred the melodic rock of the 80s rock stuff and the hair metal stuff, because I believe that I could play thrash metal and it would sound the same. I think a monkey could do it, that's just my opinion, and it is what it is. But I just don't see that there's value in it, to be honest. But that's like I said, that's my opinion. So I don't know if it killed itself or not. I think it just ran its course, and I think the unfortunate part was that grunge is what took its place, and it's okay. I mean, there's parts of it now that I like. But when it happened, I didn't like it. I just turned it off, and I went to – and honestly, I was so fed up with it and didn't like it, I went to country. I just turned it off, and it was country station from that point forward for quite a bit of the 90s.
That's what I did too. Amazing.
And just shut it off, and it was over. I mean, I'm done. If I can't have my Kiss, if I can't have my my Poison and the other bands that I really enjoyed listening to, and Rat and those guys, then the hell with it. I'm going to go find something different. And I'm not going to play – I don't want to listen to a bunch of guys wearing jeans and flannel shirts. I just can't stand that shit. To me, it was just a bunch of guys getting up there just playing. It just didn't do it for me. So made me switch.
And before Alan gets into it real quick, I want to add something to what you just said. I think, too, I did the same thing. When grunge came in, I just shut down. I actually I crawled into a box basically and just listened to what I liked. But you know what else came around that time that's when Max was born. And I think a lot of that happened to do with I had a kid at that time. I'm listening to Barney and little, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get into a different kind of a mode. Yeah. So I kind of missed the whole grunge thing because I really just wasn't music at that time. I quit playing music out as a musician for a while, and then having a kid, you're into that, and all of our friends were having kids, and we didn't go to concerts. We all went to backyard parties and stuff like that, and
it's called you were being a responsible adult.
Exactly. So
That's true.
I miss grunge. I mean, it kind of happened at a good time too, but that's one thing I was curious because we all had kids about the same time. Mm-hmm. I didn't know if that was some part of it too that maybe was a deal. So anyway, Alan.
Well, from my point of view, I think Dennis, or not Dennis, the other Dennis, Bill.
Sorry, Bill.
Yeah. Bill pointed out the fact that the hair metal market was oversaturated. And I think that's a good way to put it. Because how many Motley Crues can you have? How many, Kiss was jumping on whichever, they're trying to sound like Bon Jovi for a while. You've got Motley Crue, you've got Bon Jovi, you've got Def Leppard, and then Poison comes in and it turns from hair metal to glam hair metal or whatever. And how many different acts tried to dress like Poison and just tease their hair up, turned it white, But when grunge came in, I actually didn't mind the grunge, and I didn't really consider some of it grunge. Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, I really liked those bands when they first come out, but they got the grunge label, whether that was deserved or not. You know, throw Nirvana in there too. I like them. I really like their first album. But yeah, I think for the most part, in my opinion, just the fact that everybody was the same, Sleaze Bees, Harem Scarum, and all of that other stuff. Oh, did I hit a nerve?
Strangers in Paradise.
No, nobody. Yeah, wow, y'all talk about a real under the radar band. Cool.
Well, that's one of the topics that we're going to do one day is under the radar band. So we'll have to get you on for that one.
I got tons of them.
Well, we'll get you on for that one. But yeah, I mean, overall, in my opinion, it kind of killed itself. But you know, that wasn't necessarily a bad thing. Right. Now it's your turn, Billy.
Well, y'all all have valid points, but as
well,
Dennis
you're wrong.
was saying, as Dennis was, no, I'm not saying you're wrong because it's a little bit of everything, but it's mainly the marketing aspect, and the marketing aspect in the '80s was MTV. Yeah. You know, if it wasn't for MTV coming out in '81, we wouldn't have known half of these bands that came out. I mean, we didn't hear about new albums or new bands till we saw a video. There was no internet, so. That's the first thing what it was MTV. When grunge hit in 91, 92,
right.
It took over because radio stations changed their format and MTV changed their format. I mean, when they're showing Nirvana videos on Hamburger's Ball, yeah, something ain't right in the world, in Billy's world. That's for damn sure. So it's a little bit of everything, and it's kind of like, yeah, in the late 80s, it was oversaturated. I mean, it was just, but me, I loved it. I understand people say they got burned. I loved it. I didn't care. I wanted more and more and more. But, I mean, and in the, like Bill said, I was in Arizona in 91. I got out of the Air Force. I moved back home to my little podunk country West Texas town. Country radio was it there. No, AM radio. There was, and so I got into watching CMT and listening to country music. I still kept up with MTV and some of the rock that they did. I mean, Queensryche still was putting out a couple of good albums in the 90s. There was still some good stuff coming out, but you had to go find it, you know, and there was no internet for me. It was just, hopefully there was an ad in a magazine, you know, Rip or Hit Parade or whatever. But basically I did like Bill, Garth Brooks hit in the early 90s. And where I was, it was shit kicker highway. I mean, there was country bars, and that was it. And Garth Brooks, to me, was more rock and roll than fucking Nirvana or Pearl Jam.
He's a huge Kiss fan, so that shouldn't be a big surprise.
There was a few years, but you got to look at it, though, too. I hate it when people say that grunge killed hair metal. Grunge didn't kill hair metal. Grunge only lasted like 3 years.
Right.
I mean, and people give Nirvana way too much credit because before Kurt Cobain died, they weren't as big. And you know how it is when somebody dies,
right.
Their shit just takes off. And,
I mean,
Nirvana got way bigger after Kurt Cobain killed himself.
Right.
Kind of like the Doors.
See, but I don't think of them as much as of that kind of a band. I think of like Pearl Jam, Stone Temple.
Well, out of all of them that I knew, that I listened to, I mean, I did like Pearl Jam. I liked Alice in Chains.
Right,
but Nirvana was the bottom of the barrel for me.
I didn't like
they were, to me, they were the worst. But they really got all the credit because Kurt Cobain killed himself.
Right.
Honestly. So, and it was in the news and, 24/7 for a few weeks.
Hey, you hear that? You hear that, Kanye? You hear that, Kanye? You want to be the biggest famous
kill yourself.
I wasn't going to go there, but
you're talking about the news. I think in MTV, I think you have a very good point because if you remember, MTV News was big too, right? Because I remember sitting around trying to watch MTV News, and they were really promoting it. So it's not any different than the regular news media on CBS, ABC, NBC. They're pushing the things that they think are culturally moving in a direction, whatever that is. Well, and I think the same thing happened, like you said, like we were talking about on MTV. I think they kind of got on that bandwagon too, and they pushed it and propelled it, and I think that had a huge impact on it. I think you're right.
You're talking about You're talking about like cookie cutter bands in the '80s, but then in the '90s, the record companies did it the same way with all the teeny poppers. Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, all the boy bands. It was just the record company's next thing. They were like, let's just put all these people together who have no talent and push them out there. And the only reason all of that stuff died now, I think, is because of the internet, and people can just find stuff on the internet, and they can. I don't know. I mean, the internet killed a lot of different things too, but
and think about music today. So if you listen to if you turn on a pop radio station today, which I have, I have kids that still listen to that stuff. So, it's individual people. There are no bands. Yeah. It's Meghan Trainor.
It's artists, pop artists.
It's artists. It's Meghan Trainor. It's Taylor Swift. It's
Adele.
I'm trying to think of guys here. So Ed Sheeran,
Sam Smith.
It's Sam Smith. It's individual people. It's not, and so it'll change. It'll go back at some point to where it just flows. And there are people now that I can't figure out how on God's earth they're even getting a recording contract, but nobody asked me. So there you go.
Know what really brought me out? We talked about when grunge came in. I kind of went into a box. It was I remember.
You a man in a box?
Yeah.
Just ask.
I really wasn't getting into anybody at any point, and then I was watching HBO at one night, and they had these newer, they were showing newer bands and stuff like that, and they played a band called Marvelous 3. And I was just
Butch Walker, South Gang,
Butch Walker, and I was like, "Oh my God, I love that song." So I went out the next day and I bought the disc, and then I found out, they got 2 more discs. So I bought like all 3 discs, and I was like, "Man, I finally got this new band. Oh, this is gonna be awesome!" And then I'm like going, "Oh, they got a website," and the internet was just new at the time, and I'm like, "Oh, cool!" Popped up the internet. Well, they broke up like 3 months prior to that.
Now you've got Butch Walker playing folk music. So
I know. It was sad, but that was in the mid to late night kind of 90s. But then the other thing that got me sparked again was in '96. With Kiss, and they come around with the not the unplugged, but the reunion. Well, no, it first started out with the official convention tour. And then, like I said, when they did it, 95, 96. And then from there on, they went to that, with the reunion tour, which got me back into it. So, and that's what sparked my music interest back up again. It's like, this is great. Kiss is coming back out. And I think a lot of people have seen that too, that the rebuys, and a lot of bands were thinking, maybe we can do this. Maybe we can do this. And then, of course, Foo Fighters came out in 97.
Jesus Christ.
There you go.
There we go.
You knew it was coming, man. It was not a matter of time, not a matter of if. It was a matter of when.
For a guy, and I didn't even realize he was from, he was the drummer from Nirvana. I just I heard their music, and I was like, I like this music. And went from there. So anyway, got my Dave in. See ya.
We get no royalties. You're gonna have to send one of these to Dave so he understands he gets mentioned on every show.
I met all those guys. They're great guys.
I know, blah blah blah. But you got to send him an episode and see if he watches it.
I will. I've emailed him a couple times, but I never got anything back.
He won't. He's breaking a solo album with Kanye right now. So
That's exactly right. He kicked those other guys out. I saw it on TV.
Kanye's gonna boost his career.
Jesus.
He's gonna save him. He's gonna save us all.
Yeah, Rock is dead. Kanye's gonna save it.
Golly.
Exactly. But I think it's pretty cool now, though, that there is a lot of that, that resurgence of those bands from the '80s that are they're coming back. And
but the problem is they're not getting the push. Like, for all the hair metal people that live here in Nashville,
right?
I mean, Kip Winger lives here. Nelson lives here. Fucking Slaughter. None of them fucking play here.
Yeah, but is that a choice?
Play in Nashville.
They're out on tour, and I'm like, well, y'all don't play here. Dude, they can play the Wild Horse. The Wild Horse has awesome rock concerts. Right. Exiting. There's places here. There's a big rock scene here.
Yeah.
Mercury. They play the Mercury. Is it Mercury Room? Is that what it is?
Mercy Lounge. Mercy Lounge.
Okay.
Yeah. Mercury Room's Exit In out there has all kinds of bands that come in there.
But I'm just saying that they should play here more.
Yeah, they should.
Winger went out on tour a couple years ago, and they they made a video here. They
Right.
filmed a video downtown, but they don't even play a show here.
You
I'm
would be
just like,
amazed
I
at
don't
all the
get
people
it.
who
I
live
don't
in
understand
Nashville,
it.
though. All the stars who live in
They're all
Nashville.
coming here.
Is Vinny
John-
is Vinny still there? Or
No,
is he?
he disappeared again. He went somewhere where he can have pets. I don't know.
She's around.
She's around.
She's around somewhere. We just don't know where.
Yeah.
Chris Zinzak thinks he knows, but I'm not
Oh,
sure.
really?
Yeah,
Well, let's go.
he seems to have inside information.
We'll get a
so-
12-pack. We'll all jump in a van and we'll go find
He
him.
did show me his old house. I mean, Chris, the first time I went and hung out at his house, he lived in the area where Chris lives, and he drove me right to his house. So I looked at
I've
his
seen
house.
pictures of the driveway, and actually, I've seen pictures of the house, and it was
Yeah.
Is it what kind of house? I mean, is it just a?
Just normal house.
Yeah, normal house.
There was actually 2 houses on the plot. One was his ex-wife's, and one was his. But after all, his wife died, and all this shit went on. He moved, and they sold the house, and I don't know. Yeah, nobody knows where he's at no more. I don't know.
So all the money he spent suing Kiss for all those years, trying to get money for something he didn't get, he probably should have hung on to.
Yeah,
And you know what's funny
he
is
should have quit buying all those damn wigs.
they said too, though. As many songwriters there are in there, nobody knows. You would think he would be doing something, and nobody knows where he's at.
I have heard from a source that he was actually doing some writing, going to writing sessions with some country people,
Right.
but he was using a different name, and
Oh,
nobody knew who he was.
Huh.
So he might have helped Carrie Underwood write a
Well,
song. but I don't know. He was
that would
using it.
probably be in his best interest to keep doing that.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Hmm.
But that's crazy.
So
That's
what
interesting.
killed grunge?
3 Doors Down and Nickelback. The
There
2
you
bands
go.
that everybody fucking hates. And Creed. I
Nickelback.
talk
Yeah,
about that all the
I-
time, and people are just like, "You're full of shit." I'm like, "What started in the late '90s? Creed, Nickelback, Fuel, 3 Doors Down.
Third Eye Blind.
They killed grunge."
There you go.
And that's just another cookie cutter set of bands. We're going to go see, what is it? I don't even remember which. Oh, Shinedown. But to me, they're all the same band. I can't tell the difference. It's like, okay, I've seen one of them. I don't know. I've seen 3 Doors Down, or no, 3 Days Grace. I don't know which one. It's 3 something
I
to
like
do
3
with-
Days
Yeah, well, that's the
Shut up.
thing. For a while, all of them had numbers in their Matchbox 20. All of them had numbers in their name, and you're like,
I don't
3
know.
Doors Grace. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm like you. I get confused on which one
Yeah.
It's like, which song does that? Because matter of fact, our band plays a lot of that type of music, and I'm all the time. Can you believe this? I'm actually always saying the wrong band name. Can you believe that shit?
No, really?
I didn't even know you'd say the band name. I thought you'd say, "Oh, that band that we know that plays over there at that place."
This is a
We're
song.
gonna do a song by this band.
Yeah. There you go.
If you can name it, we'll buy you a bucket of beer.
Oh no, I can't do that. That'd be my hope. That'd be all
I
my
won't
money
be
for the
there.
night.
I won't be there.
But anyway,
I mean,
Yeah,
no, I got into all those bands. I mean, I loved Nickelback's first few albums. I loved 3 Doors Down. I actually got their new album now that just came out, and it's actually pretty good. But
I've
it's
always
just
liked
they all
your-
started, Shinedown, their first couple albums I really loved. I mean, I love the first album. But now they just got into that formula where they just sound
all
crappy,
the same. Yeah. I
It's
can't
just-
tell it. I have to Shazam them half the time to find out which
Yeah.
songs they are.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You say Shazam?
But then I take my Shazam and I send it to
Captain
my
Marvel.
list on Spotify. I got a list on Spotify.
Jesus.
Yeah, there you go.
I
Sorry.
don't have to Shazam shit.
See, I'm done. I know you're.
You are Shazam.
I'll either Shazam or call Billy. Hey,
Yeah,
Billy,
text me.
what's this, Bill? What's this song?
That is too funny.
That is funny.
That's the thing, though. I mean, everybody keeps talking about, all our, Lemmy's dead, David Bowie died, and, Kiss is going to, Paul and Gene are going to die at some point soon. And what's going to go on to carry, who's going to be the next big band that's like Metallica that has a 30-year career?
Taylor
Well,
Swift.
and I
Nobody.
think that was Gene's point when he made a comment about Rock is
It's
dead.
exactly-
The point wasn't that
everybody
people aren't
took-
making music anymore.
Yeah.
People blew that crap out of proportion.
Yeah.
He
He meant
it's
the
an
industry.
absolute fact.
He meant
There
the
aren't
industry. Yeah.
they're not there. They don't exist.
So,
No.
The Britney Spears won't exist. The Meghan Trainors won't exist. They're not going to. Those.
I mean,
they're
take-
not
look
going to
at-
exist.
Look at American Idol. When it first started in around 2000, Kelly Clarkson was the
Right.
first winner. She's had a decent career, and she's
Yeah.
a good artist.
Right.
Yep.
But she still doesn't write her own music. She doesn't really play anything. She's just an artist. She's a singer. But look at how many years American Idol has been on, and how many of those people, the winners, you even remember their names. You know, look at Daughtry. Look at how big Daughtry was.
I remember.
And he
the one
didn't
I remember
even
that didn't win is Daughtry.
He got it number 4.
Right.
You know, and he was pretty big. I like his first album is phenomenal. But just think about that. How many of the American Idol people are still relevant or even know of? Carrie Underwood, Kelly Clarkson, you know, Daughtry.
But you know, the other night they had the guy from last year. I can't even think of it.
I don't even know his name. I saw it. I didn't even know.
I quit watching like 5 years ago.
My wife really liked the guy, and he had some pretty good songs. But that jerk off they got that's doing it now. He's that guy from Nashville. No, that producer. I call him Lucifer because he always looks.
The producer that's on the show talking about.
He's always doing his hands like this.
Always wringing his hands.
Yeah,
that makes. I don't trust people that do that.
But anyway, the problem is this. They brought him back last week in his new song, and it's shit. It's the worst song ever. It's like you couldn't write. You know, you've had a year to write a fucking song.
They didn't write that song. They pulled it out of a drawer. The song was probably written 10 fucking years ago, and it was on a tape in a fucking drawer in some executive's office. And it's probably been passed upon by 30 fucking country artists because it's a piece of shit.
Right.
That's how songwriting here in Nashville works.
It suits.
These people get together. Country music is, they don't care about the artists who are singing the songs. They only care about the songwriters.
Right.
So they don't let artists write their own music. They might throw you a bone and let you write a couple of songs, but the majority of your album is going to be written by Nashville songwriters because they want them to make the money. Right. And it's a fact. Look at any country artist album that comes out nowadays, and there's probably one maybe song written specifically by that artist. Everything else would be co-written. And you know what co-written means. I mean, It's like, you know, look at Gene Simmons. I mean, I wrote "God Gave Rock and Roll to You."
Change a word,
change 2 words, and you know that co-written shit is bullshit. You know.
So, do you think that's why Taylor Swift has switched to pop or rock or pop?
She was a good songwriter when she was 14 years old and 15 years old. She writes songs for kids. Now that she's an adult, she can't keep writing those songs. So, yeah, she didn't write anything on her last album. People swear to me she did. She had co-writers on all that stuff, you know, and there's no difference in that stuff than some of the other pop stuff. The only thing is that these record companies give the best songs to the best artists.
Sure.
You know, Rascal Flatts is a big example of that. They're one of the country bands that I really like, and it's always funny that their albums come out and they always have some really good songs on them, but they're co-written with some of the main songwriters in Nashville, and the guys write with them too. But it's all these songs that are just waiting for the right person. You know, they know if a person has already had a couple of years and has a following, and they'll give them the best songs. And you know, it's
now are these songwriters?
It's a ready-made thing.
Let me ask you something about, you know, we go down to the Strip quite a bit when we have an opportunity and go watch bands down there. You know, they switch out every 2 hours, you know, all that stuff. I'm sure it's a pay to play deal down there, isn't it? Pretty well.
Yeah, it's that or who you know or who you blow. Yeah.
So are a lot of those people songwriters? The songwriters,
sometimes
you think?
That's the thing here. Anybody downtown can say they're a songwriter, but unless you're actually under, you know, ASCAP and you're working for the record company,
sure.
I could say I'm a songwriter, and that's one thing that bugs me now here in Nashville is anytime you meet somebody, they're like, "Oh, are you a musician? Do you write music?" Like, what does that have to do with anything? But it's really just crazy down there now that anybody can say they're whatever they want, and it's just up to you whether to believe it or not. The ones that are in the bars playing music, yeah, they might have written their little song that they're performing,
right,
but that doesn't make them a songwriter. I mean,
I just wondered if a lot of those, if there are songwriters going to then just use those bands to just not necessarily to play music, but to try out new stuff or to try.
Not really.
Stuff.
They have certain people they do. The big thing here is the Bluebird. The Bluebird is where the legit The legit songwriters go down there,
Right.
and they will either play them or they will have specific people playing them, and it's all a little family in a tight knit circle.
So
Right.
Is the Bluebird still open? I'd heard it
As
closed.
far as I know, it is. I mean, as far
it's
as
right
I know,
down there.
it is.
We go to that mall down there, right across
Green
the
Hills.
street from Green Hills. We go down there all the time. Go ahead, Alan.
So I'm a BMI artist. I've written a few songs. So should I go down there and do this with my little business
No,
card?
let me check your songs out first, because I'll give you my my Simon Cowell opinion, and I'll just probably tell you to just quit your day job and
come right on down here and be poor with the rest of them.
Yeah. Put it this way. This is Music City, supposedly.
Yeah.
There are more out of work musicians here than there are working musicians.
I believe that.
They have ruined Nashville. I mean, it's like you watched Sound City. I mean,
Right.
the one they had about Nashville.
Oh,
You
who
remember
did
those?
that?
You
What
remember
was
those
that movie?
producers? You remember those producers?
Yeah.
Not Sound City. The Sonic Highways.
Yeah,
The
Sonic Highways.
Nashville episode.
Same.
The producer there was a big producer in the '90s, and
Right.
he was even saying that the music they're pumping out now sucks.
Well, they said
So,
it. You
One
would
of
go
their
into a-
major producers said that
Yeah.
about the industry, his own industry nowadays.
We said, you would go in there and these 8 guys in suits would come in and open
Yeah.
their briefcases and say, "Here's a song."
Yeah.
Basically, it was.
There are
a
no
machine.
players
It
now.
was a
There aren't.
machine.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just all Pro Tools, and
It's a business.
it just kills me. It's just real frustrating. So
Well, the thing is, it has always been a business.
Right.
But
but there was a time that
There was a little more heart in it.
and there was the business ran on people's talent, and now the talent is just totally gone, and it's just totally gone, and that's all because of technology. I totally blame technology on that. Pro Tools and computer age and all that stuff. The computer age, social media has ruined everything. Every facet of life of people our age, it's ruined it all. There's no surprise anymore. There's no anticipation of something, because if you happen to get on Facebook, it'll be spoiled for you. I mean, you can't go see a movie the first day it opens without already of hearing somebody's opinion. Oh, well, I saw it last night and I thought it sucked and all this stuff. So you already go into it with some kind of feelings, and it ruins everything. Every facet of life has been ruined by social media and the internet.
And I go into this. I do stupid things like before I go to a concert, I'll look up setlist.org.
I fucking hate that.
And it's like, oh shit! I don't want to, but it's like, okay, I got.
I do that so I know when to pee.
That's exactly what I was planning when I'm going to take a piss. Should I drink a lot of beer at first, or should I wait? Okay, I'm going to start drinking heavy about third song.
I don't do it for Kiss shows. They've been playing the same set list.
Yeah.
You don't have to. There's no reason to.
I just want some kind of surprise. I mean, I don't care if it's just one little thing. I don't want
I agree.
the whole thing spoiled for me, and it just irks me. I mean, it just really drives me mad, so.
Well, like I say, it used to be in the day, we would wait around, wait for the next hit parade or whatever, just to find out a little spinge in the news. Now my phone will ding. Oh my God, Ace really farted.
It's like overkill now. There's just too much of it, but
Yes.
I'm addicted to it, and I just can't get away with it.
You
away
can't
from
stop.
it. It's-
Can't
Well,
stop.
we're in that instant gratification.
Yep.
I mean, that's what the world. I mean, that's what we're living in, and I think that's why, that's why the bands won't be around.
No.
The next big thing will be the next big thing, and there won't be bands around forever.
Well, nobody wants an album. Everybody just wants. Oh, I just want that song. Just give me that song.
It's because the young generation nowadays. This is the thing that I try to talk to my wife about. Okay, about the music industry. Teenagers run the music industry. Every decade, teenagers have ran the music industry.
Yeah, we did.
Teenagers ran it in the 60s.
We ran it pretty good, though.
Teenagers ran it in the 70s.
yeah.
And teenagers ran it in the 80s. Teenagers ran it in the 90s. Teenagers are running it now. The only difference is now is that a teenager doesn't have to get on their bike and ride down the fucking Best Buy and buy a new CD when it comes out, because all they got to do is get on your little thing that you use, or the internet, YouTube or whatever, and listen to a song.
That's
and
what she calls it.
They're just satisfied with hearing one song, and then they move on. Yeah. There's no passion for it anymore. And they're lazy. They're lazy. That's just what I pointed out. It's just lazy. Adults aren't buying fucking Taylor Swift albums. Some adults are buying Adele's albums. That's sad to know, but yeah, Taylor Swift sold 3 million albums or something the first week her album came out. Adults didn't buy those. Or if they did, they're buying them for their kids. So it's a generational
for their
youth
kids
thing. Yeah, it's a generational youth thing, and it's just the youth of today sucks. I mean, all you got to do is read Facebook for 10 minutes, and you'll realize that. It's sad. It's really sad. So I'm just really thankful that I don't have kids because I don't.
What really pisses me off too? I don't. And the kids, say they're buying that bullshit and they're buying that crap. I play music. And, I play out on a Saturday night, and you get a group of 8 girls come in there, and every one of them never say a word to each other. They're all on their phones. Fucking texting to another group of girls at another bar, saying how much fun they're having, but they ain't doing shit. They're not listening to music. They're not dancing. They're just sitting there looking at their phones, texting. I'm like going, you people you got to put your shit down. Watch the music. I mean, that's what. It burns.
I see girls at concerts.
Oh, concerts.
Like the Kiss concert. Down on the floor, like high dollar ticket prices somehow. And this girl, she might be with her dad or whatever, but she's on her phone the whole time. Not even, she might look up to see, Tommy blow a rocket out of his guitar. But I mean, she's just on her. And I'm just like, really? That's the thing that is bad today too, though, especially Nashville. This may be a Nashville thing, but people here go to shows just to say they went to a show.
Right.
Like, I've seen Kiss here 3 times since I've been here, and I see so many people there who probably have no idea anything about Kiss. They just know that they're in makeup, but they just want to say the next day, like, "Ooh, I went to a Kiss show."
Yeah, I got a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Well, what about the guys that are standing like this the whole show?
Yeah.
I filmed it. But I'll watch it later.
And I don't know if that's just Nashville or if that's everywhere.
That's everywhere.
It's just.
No, I think it's.
They just want to go to say they went, and just it's just cool. Oh yeah. Well, do you know any of the songs? No, I think I know that "Lick It Up," or "Rock and Roll All Night." But yeah, it was cool. The guy blew fire and this and that, but it was, and that's it. It's not. They're not there.
I said earlier, an earlier episode that for me, going to a Kiss show now is as much about taking somebody else that has never been than it is about going to the show because I know exactly what's going to happen. I mean. 40 some shows, I know, you know exactly what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. The rap, but to what?
I said 11 minutes, 30 seconds in.
Yeah. And you know when to pee, and you know when, all that stuff. So, but,
hello, people.
Yeah. So it's predictable. And, that's the thing that gets me frustrated. To your point, Billy, is it's that predictability. They got to break the mold. They can't sit around and say, well, we can't change because of this and pyro and stuff like that. Well, Metallica changes the set every other night.
Yeah.
They don't. So, and they blow stuff up. And so whatever. I just don't want to hear that crap.
Kiss is my favorite band, but they're fucking lazy. That's lazy. Just all. And I really blame it on. I mean, I know Paul Strange, and last time I saw him, he did really well. He did really well compared to a few times before. I blame all that shit on Gene. Gene is the laziest motherfucker. I mean, he didn't even play fucking bass in the 80s, So, I mean, that's the thing that you always hear about the Kiss crews is that Tommy and Eric are the ones that kind of get them started to play deep cuts when somebody's yelling a song out of the audience, because they know it. And then Gene and Paul will follow along. So,
well, and then like we've said before, there for years, Gene and Paul blamed, Ace and Peter for the fact of that's why we can't play anything else. Well, you know what? You got 2 guys in a band now that can play every fucking thing on the.
Yeah,
planet.
but now Paul and Gene are old farts, so they're, it's Paul now they got that excuse. My
arthritis is.
So. Yeah. And dude, I got to tell you, Bill, when today's episode when y'all were talking about how badass a bass player Gene is. When I was listening to some of those songs that I listened to today from those albums, there are some major badass bass riffs on some of that shit. I mean, and it was like
Dress to Kill's got some
awesome. Dress to Kill really surprised me today, man. It was like, wow, I can't believe I wasn't more into this album.
The bass lines in that are awesome.
I even listened to some of Unmasked, and there was some pretty cool stuff on there.
Yeah,
so
it's not bad.
I've heard people talk about Naked City, and I've never really listened to it. And I heard it come on, and I was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "It was Naked City." And I'm like, "Dude, this is a great Gene song." I mean, it's a little bit disco-ish because it has like a beat to it. But I was like, it really shocked me because I'm not really into that many Gene songs from back then. I really discovered some cool deep cuts today that I wasn't really into because of you guys. So
cool.
Thanks for
that.
Well,
the unfortunate part is you'll never get to hear those live.
I don't care. I hear them live in my head, every day. So I don't, I go to concerts every day at work. I'm always got concerts in my head. So I listen to music all day at work. So
cool.
And podcasts. I mean, I do podcasts, but when I run out of podcasts, I'll listen to music. So, and because of y'all today, thankfully, I'm behind by like 4 or 5 podcasts because you got me distracted and made me listen to some Kiss albums.
There you go.
Now that you're talking about listening to music, what kind of new music are you listening to?
Well, probably about 5, 6, 7 years ago, I've been looking at melodicrock.com probably since 2001 when I got my first computer in like early 2000, and like the first thing I remember seeing on my computer was I went to melodicrock.com. How I got there, I don't know. And it's something I check every day, 2 or 3 days, just to see, because at that time in the early 2000s, nobody even knew about Journey here. Journey, as far as anybody knew in the States, was dead after Steve Perry left. There was a bunch of 80s bands that were still active, but they were active in every other country except the U.S. So I started, and on melodicrock.com, you would find out about these bands you loved and then newer bands that were coming out of. Right now, the place I want to go, if Gibson moves there, I would move in a heartbeat, is fucking Sweden. There was all kinds of great hard rock and melodic rock and sleaze rock coming out of Sweden. Eclipse is one of the coolest bands that I've ever heard out of there. The guy, Eric Martinson, they play Kramer's. I kind of know them a little bit because we send them free guitars, and they've sent me stuff in the mail and stuff like that. But there's just, Sweden is where it's all happening right now. I mean, I know you might be into Europe, and they're great too, but Sweden has like, what's going on in Sweden right now is like the Sunset Strip was in the 80s.
That's cool.
So,
isn't Inglorious from Sweden or something like that?
Yeah, well, yeah, they're
Nathan
James, I think, is British, isn't he? He's not American, but he was the guy that was on the Voice over there. I think he was in Britain, but yeah, they're kind of like Frontiers Records usually will put these groups together, and they'll have the stock musicians that they'll put in all these projects and stuff. And I know some people say they don't like that because it'll just be a project, and we won't ever get to see them, or they might not even do anything. But you know what? If they're putting out good quality music, I'm all for it. I mean, I just want to hear good fucking music. And Frontiers Records right now, I mean, they put out the last 2 or 3 Whitesnake albums that have been great. They're doing Journey. They're doing, they usually will grab all the 80s bands, and if they're doing new music, they'll put it out. They're the distributor for the world for that. So if it wasn't for Frontiers, a lot of that stuff we wouldn't even be hearing about. But as far as, Inglorious is great. That album is great. There's a band called Primal Fear that's been around for a while. But they have a brand new album out called Rule Breaker that is just phenomenal. Right now, there's like 3 albums for me that are tied for first place at the end of this year for my top 10 list. And that's Megadeth, of course. The new Megadeth album is just, oh my God, I almost blew a load when I first heard it, man. I mean, it was just so, I haven't been that excited about a Megadeth album in 20 years. And right now it's Megadeth, Primal Fear, and there's a band called Chakra that's out of Europe that has a new album out called High Noon. If you're into, it's just melodic rock, hard rock. It's kind of like hair metal, but of the 2016 of this age. Cool. So
hair metal without the hair.
No, these guys have hair. They're all they're not old fogies like us. They're carrying the flag, and you know, one guy I think I heard he bought some of Vinnie Vincent's wigs, and he's wearing Vinnie Vincent wigs. But I'm discovering that is the only good thing about the internet to me, is that it is still helping me discover new music to this day that I love.
Yeah.
And the minute that goes away, I don't know what I'm gonna do, because I sweat and breathe music, and I still get excited like a little kid when I hear something new that I love. You know, I still buy vinyl. I try to buy everything on vinyl that I can. I still buy new CDs because I love the artwork and I love having a physical thing. But when I hear a new album, I don't listen to preview clips. I don't watch videos when they come out. I wait till I get an album, because I don't want to have any kind of prejudgment to an album or anything. I mean, I just don't. And I still get excited when I hear a new album. And what I do when I find a new album is I listen to stuff, and I have what I call the skip test. When I was writing reviews for Decibel Geek, that's what I always was. That was my thing, was, you know, does it pass the skip test? And that's, if I can, I usually will burn a copy. I put it in my car, or if I have the CD, I'll put it in my car, and I will listen to it on the way to work. And if I can listen to the tracks without skipping through the songs, then that's how I rate my CDs. Because if a song doesn't catch me, and I get bored, or it's just not good. So that's the way I am. It has to excite me to some point. And
so you're not buying anything. You're not getting any MP3s or anything. It's all CDs.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
LPs.
I do get MP3s. I mean, there's some stuff that I just have to get on MP3, but because there's a lot of stuff that I hate having to order shit on Amazon, and honestly, I can't afford to buy all the music that I want, because there's a lot of shit out there. But so it's about half and half. Some stuff I buy, and I have other means of getting some other stuff. But I mean, you know, the best thing you could do, people aren't making money selling albums anymore. The best thing you can do, like everybody says, is find a band you love and do whatever you can to buy merchandise or go see them live. You know, I mean, that's all you can do. They make it so hard here to find albums, to find CDs now. Right. You know,
hell, I went to Best Buy the other day to get. I was going to buy that R40 DVD set, you know, from Rush, because I had a gift card. Goddamn, they don't have nothing there anymore. No. They have movies, but they got very little music whatsoever. And they had 3 music DVDs. That's it. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. That you can order online, but that's like, fuck that. I ain't gonna do that.
I hate buying shit online because I don't want to wait. I mean, I want to hear shit the first fucking
instant gratification.
It pisses me off, man. I mean, there's a Best Buy up the road from us in Mount Juliet, and I literally have more CDs in my house than they have in their store.
I was
literally.
I believe that.
Literally,
Yeah,
and that's not even talking about my vinyl. I've got almost 1,000 records on vinyl.
Right.
Wow.
So I'm trying to build up to 1,000. I'm at 9. I have a music app on my phone. I'm at 962.
Wow.
So.
Wow, that's cool, man.
And that's the thing. There's days I just hang out upstairs in my music room, and I'll just put on something, and I'll just look through my records, and I'm always like, oh wow, I forgot I had this, or I'll just look at the cover, and I'm just like mesmerized, and it's a nostalgia thing, I guess. It just takes me back, and I'm just like, it's just cool. When all that goes away, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to be put in a nursing home or something, and just be dedicated, because I don't know how I would live without all that. You know?
I bought some vinyl this week earlier. I was in Chicago and stopped at a great record store called Reckless Records, and
I've heard of them.
It's really cool stuff. I mean, the place was very. They had a rating on each album, and it told what kind of condition it was in, and there were comments about it, and it was very, very well done. I mean, not your typical. It wasn't your place where they were all in a bin and you sorted through them and God knows what you want. I mean, they were in bins, but you had a little more direction on what to go with. But I picked up some stuff there, some stuff I had previously that I've gotten rid of over time, for some reason, because I just didn't think, I'd never pull my turntable out again. But which is cool. So Noah and I spent a little bit of time there, and my wife spent some time watching us going. I think she was like, the clock is ticking as we were going, but she was very patient.
Anytime we travel anywhere, for vacation, or we go see my wife's family, my wife knows that she sets me aside a little bit of a budget to go find a record store.
Well, I got to come to Nashville this summer for a conference. I'll be there for almost a week, so I plan on at some point getting away.
We'll hook up. I'll take you to some places.
There you go. So that'd be good.
I got these little things in the mail the other day. Let's just do show and tell right now. I ordered these on eBay. This is a Vinnie Vincent sneak preview promo single.
Huh.
It's not for sale. Well, it's for sale on eBay. But
is that a cutout or a bite out?
This was just torn. I don't know. This was just. But what it is it's a preview of All Systems Go, and I just listened to it a little while ago, and it's got like little snippets. It's almost 6 minutes of music, and it's basically got little snippets of each song on the album.
That's cool.
So it's just a sneak preview. And then here's another one. It's a promo single from the first album. It's just, I guess they just sent them out to record stores or radio stations, and it's pink vinyl. It's got Animal on one side and Boys Are Gonna Rock.
Now that I would be interested in having.
That's cool.
And it came with all these cool stickers that Chris Zinzak has some, because he gave me one a long time ago. But it came with all these cool stickers. So I'll be
selling these on eBay or something.
You
said?
Yeah, I got it on eBay for like $20. I mean, with shipping and all, it was like $20.
Hey,
Did it come
Billy,
straight from Vinny's house or
I
what?
still have
I
these.
don't know. No, it didn't come from Smyrna. So.
Billy, I still have these.
Those bubblegum things. Oh,
yeah,
man.
PM me your address and I'll send them to you.
Oh, sweet, dude. Awesome. And I bought this album. I'm just showing you. This is just here because I got this in the mail the other day, too. And this is a band called Meridian. This came out in 89. They only had one album. I had it on cassette back in the day, and I got rid of my cassettes, and I've never seen it on CD. The reason I kind of went looking for it was because Rock Candy Records is about to reissue it, you know, and I didn't want to buy that, so I've been looking for the vinyl, and I finally found it on eBay. But it's Meridian. It's called Lost in the Wild, and this is actually an album that I don't have on MP3 or anything. That's cool. Why I had to buy the record. So I'm gonna have to rip it onto my computer so I can put it on my iPod. But this is just one of those, like you said, lost albums, bands that just came and went, you know. And like I said, I know hundreds of those. I've got, you know, albums by tons of those bands. But this is just one of those things that I loved back in the day, and I just, you know, finally found it at a decent price and had to have it.
Cool.
So I was
looking in that record store. I was looking for I think the first Angel record.
Oh, dude, I have all the Angel records.
I've got that. I've got a couple Angel records.
And I had it, and I don't have it anymore. That was something I was looking for.
What's the name of it? You remember?
Angel is the first one.
I think it was
just Angel.
Is it got?
When we get off here, I'm gonna.
It's the one without the upside down logo.
Okay.
Let me look.
I'd have to see it to know exactly which one it is. But
let me look on my app. Let me look on
my done. I'll look at my bin real quick and I'll see if I got it. If I do, you can.
I bought Foreigner. I bought Foreigner Double Vision. I bought Styx Grand Illusion.
You get that New England?
I bought the New England album.
Yeah, I like that.
I bought Bryan Adams, Cuts Like a Knife.
Oh yeah, see that I've had that since I was a kid.
So I mean, I have most of that stuff on CD, but I just wanted it on vinyl. So it's really more because I just wanted it. But I paid I got them for next to nothing. So
there's the flea market they have here at the Nashville Fairgrounds every month. I usually go there, and there's two record guys that I'm pretty familiar with that I usually will find some cool stuff with. Some of it is a little expensive. The 80s hard rock stuff is a little pricey sometimes, but if I gotta have it, I gotta have it. But some of these, there's another guy that some of the early 80s stuff is pretty cheap. So I find, you know, like the New England, I didn't even know they had a third album till I found it. I only knew about the first two, and I found their third album at the flea market for like $4. I was like, what the hell? I didn't even know about this. So I just bought it.
Yeah, I got it off iTunes. I didn't care much for that third one, but
you don't like giving
Kiss Asylum was like $15, and it was used.
Yeah,
but
that's the thing. That's the thing. Kiss, ever since the resurgence in the last 6 or 7 years, Kiss vinyl is just, even the old stuff is just outrageous, man.
Well, they had a Paul Stanley reissue album, solo album. I mean,
right.
that was like they wanted like $19 for. And it was
Yeah, right.
open. And I'm like, I have an
You know,
original. Why the hell would I pay $19 for that? That's,
Yeah, it doesn't have the poster probably in it or nothing. So
well, it doesn't. Mine doesn't either.
I think mine does. I have some of that stuff. I don't have all of it. Like y'all were talking today, like, dude, if I was smart when I was a kid, I would be a millionaire because I had every freaking Star Wars toy on the planet.
Yeah.
And I just threw that shit away. And every time we see, price guides on Star Wars figures and shit, I'm like, man, I had like 4 of those. Boba Fett, $4,000. I had like 4 of those.
Wow.
And I'm just like, but like you said, we didn't know what the hell we were doing when we were kids.
I play with my shit. I wore my shit out. That's what we were.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, we are pretty much out of time.
Oh, come on. Let's do a double episode.
I can't find
I can go all night. Boom.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
But Billy, we thank you for coming on the show. We definitely want to have you back on future episodes.
Thanks for having me, man. It was a blast. I love listening to you guys laugh and have fun. Y'all don't get me all. I mean, I don't get pissed off. I get frustrated because y'all, get some things wrong. But I mean, at least y'all are funny and y'all don't try to act like y'all know it all and stuff like that. There's some other podcasts that sometimes there's one that I just quit listening to because they're fucking 3 assholes. So, but no, you guys are just awesome and Bill, you come down to Nashville, man. We'll get together and I'll
Sounds
take you
good.
around. We can.
I want to come
hang
down.
out.
I want to go to the plant too. I have to get a hold of you.
Yeah, I'll look into that and figure out something, and then I'll find out what we need, and then it may be just as simple as a date and a time, and then I can get you in there.
Because I'm only 2 hours away, so I can get down there.
Yeah.
anytime. So.
We'll all end up down there hanging with you.
We
at
will.
some point.
Well, I'll come down. We'll make a road trip out of it.
Hey, road trip. Be careful.
Ages
You
of Rock
never
goes
know
to
what. You never know
Nashville.
what kind of animals might end up on your front.
Yeah.
The most important thing, Billy, is don't go to Taco Bell at 2 in the
3
morning.
You know what? You know what though? Go to Taco Bell for breakfast. They have the best fucking breakfast tacos anywhere. They have like grilled egg, bacon, egg, and cheese burritos and tacos. Those are good. Don't eat their regular dinner tacos.
Yeah.
They have good breakfast stuff now.
Alan tried to make a breakfast burrito the other
Well,
morning.
I think Alan had them for dinner and breakfast.
Well, the dinner went in and the breakfast came out.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
It's all good. All right, folks, visit us on agesofrock.com and click on all of our social media links and like us and share and all of that fun stuff. And we will see you all next week.
Later.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Ages of Rock podcast. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and most importantly, tell all your friends. Remember, you're never too old to rock. Until the next episode, peace out, folks.